name's Paul Holbrook and I created the Diary Detox, and today I'm going to talk to you about how you can help your people manage their day when working remotely. Now, the answer I have to give you is very short and very simple. Help your people to spend less time working. Yeah, I know, it wasn't quite what you're expecting, but bear with me and I'll explain why. If you think about what happened when we went into lockdown, if you were like me, you became super productive almost overnight, and it's no surprise. You probably got up at the same time, but of course that commute was now a walk somewhere in the house, so you probably spent that extra time working. And exactly the same thing happened at the other end of the day, so we got lots more done. Now this all worked very well for the first 4 weeks. At the end of my working day, would go and walk my dog, I'd get some exercise, have dinner, relax with the family, and then go to bed before starting the same thing the next day. But in week 5, something started to happen. I stopped exercising. It's like I was getting to the end of my day and I was just too shattered, and it was all I could do to have a glass of wine and TV before I went to bed. Now the next week, I started to finish work early. Started at 4:30. I was too tired to continue, like I was running out of battery, and this got earlier and earlier as the week went on until eventually I had to take a day off midweek. Now if you know me personally, you'll know this is virtually unheard of for me, but I didn't have any energy at all. Now I spoke to my wife and she said, well, it's hardly surprising. You're going into the office early, you're coming out relatively late, and other than that 15 minutes where you have some lunch, we don't really see anything of you. Are you sure you're not being burnt out? And you know what? I was. Now something had to change. I didn't know what, but I was willing to experiment, but I wanted to know why it was happening first of all. So I decided to think back to what was happening before lockdown. Now the only difference in my day back then was that I was commuting, I was walking between the meetings that I was going to, I may have met people in a coffee shop or a water cooler for a conversation, and I was interrupted more because people had access to me. Now I was still out of the house the same amount of time, but I wasn't getting burnt out. So what was really going on? Well, I realised that although it didn't look like it, beforehand I was getting plenty of rest, natural lulls in the day when I was having that walk to meeting or when I was being interrupted. Now I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that means we should go back to the office. If anything, we were getting too much rest, too many interruptions and too many walks to too many meetings, but there must have been a happy medium. Now I thought the answer lay in Parkinson's law. Now if you search this on Google, it'll say that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. And that's what was happening. We were spending lots of time out of the house and we were allowing those lulls in the day, that rest, to expand into that. So basically work, therefore, was expanding to fill the time we were giving it, and we were living in between the gaps when we weren't working. Now I decided to create a corollary to Parkinson's law. Reduce the time available for work so as to expedite its completion. Now, of course, there's a lower bound to this. You can't take a 1-hour task, give it 5 minutes and expect it to take 5 minutes. But there must have been a happy medium. So I decided to create something called the Foundation Week. Now, this is it. It's full of blue time, as I call it, living, and that's why I'm wearing a blue t-shirt today. It had the space for me to have my shower and breakfast in the morning, a mid-morning break where I not only made a cup of coffee but actually sat down and drank it. I had a lunch break in the middle of the day, but I also put my exercise there as well, followed by a break in the afternoon, and then the end of my day was signified by walking my dog Loki for an hour, and that gave me permission to stop work. Now I knew that I had the chance of changing this if it didn't work, but it did work. I got exactly the same amount of done, if not more, in less time. Because I was giving myself limited gaps to work, I was more focused during those periods. And that midday break when I had lunch and went for my exercise actually gave me more energy in the afternoon. So, my advice to you is the best thing you can do if you want to help your people manage their day when working remotely, or more generally flexibly, or even not working flexibly at all, just working the way you used to, help your people spend less time working. Thanks a lot.